like Colbase Israel, Dem Tug is the Salvarn, is the Tyra, Gavaraba, Rabbi Elimelech, Rabbi Elimelech. Sure, is there for Anzala and Shpacha, for the Yeshiva, set. Achillik and the Ashbach and the Yeshiva and Tel and Riverdale and Bada, the Riverdale, Tzibur, Nishna Riverdale, Ansa Chalakam, Yonkers, Westchester, Albatim, and Nunza Manhattan, fighting Albatim, learned by him. The very Zagreis. The Peppers of the Zunsan of the Mont, Rabbi Yossam, sein Vater von Gorgor Klein Kind. Und nachdem hat gesehen, als Woche der Mama, der Lippen von der Machla, der 10 Jahre, 8 Jahre. Und deswegen hat gelernt und gewählt für die Reste von der Zion und die Yeshiva. Lemba Amelis, Chadisch gewähnt, Schritt mit der Sach, und gewalt mit Suder und sein Lernen. Gehabt. Cybers had gelernt as Arabian, a ganz von Makasa, für Shiurim, a ganz von Makasa von die Sitte von Yeshivas. Wir ist ein eigener Kedushim und der Adolf geschrieben. Was unter sein Kirche gewähnt, der Ebstadt geschickte Schliach, der Telser Rashiv of Riverdale, was hat mir kennt in Jahren zurück, der meiste Glitten von dem Tag geht, zu lernen mit dem Zibur, der Breaker und Zibur. Es hat sich entwickelt zu einer sehr großen Zibur von verschiedenen Plätzen, verschiedenen Ehren und Jüdischkeit, die wir sind sehr schwach, die wir sind Lange nicht scheinbar mit Mitzvahs, der Mörder Maschbier gewähnt, die gebeten sie 11, sagt dann geworden, wenn die Teire, die Schwaches, hinter den Teire, nur seiner Schwur. Ein sehr scharfer Kopf, der Christen Leuch. Und wir haben Sefer Ayosha, die zu gehen zu Menschen. Sache gewähnt mit a sense of humor, a bisschen Leichtigkeit, aber you can't give Muster Menschen mit dem Pech. Du wirst wenn wir kein Mann, wie wir behalten, wir schäden, was wir kein Mann. Und besonders ist der größte Chacham, der Chachmas Ha'olam, der Chachmas Ha'teva, der Chachmas in der Bria. Und das Stamm für die Yechide in unser Dor, was öffnet Stein gewähnt im Dalmasch Kashuv. Maral sagt, dass nicht mehr Novis habe Schreiben und Terra. Lernen Terra darf noch Schide, darf allemal lernen. Maral darf allemal Schreiben und Terra, das Megala sein der Emes. Nachdem wir haben Dalmasch Kashuv, darf kennen, Euweisen, und ist von machen, was ein Schecker. So Achillik und Teure für die Moral darf ausweisen und Manier sein und ausschreiben Falschkeit zu üben mit Teure. Gewinnt von die Yechidem, was gehabt gekehrt, gehabt der Hekef und gewusst, was tut sich, was andere schreiben und können ausweisen, die Schkorren, die üben, für alle, was erkennen, unsere Messiah, unsere reine Messiah. Und das hat die Liebe gegeben für Sachtalmiden, weil Batem, Sachtalmiden gewähnt, Telser Shiva, der Mann, Sachtalmiden gewähnt, Grace Keck, Rest Neurologist und Cardiologist und Business Cypher und gekannt, Aufweisen, der Emerson Entire, Roseanne Damasch und Tasche und geklorkeit, allemal die Talmiden für die Yeshiva, den Jungweis waren, haben allemal gesagt, wenn sie ein Klorkeit der Behiris und als Bauer und Havana. Wir hatten gewaltige Hecke in alle Felkjahre, Landes, Kutschen, Und wir werden bewusst auf seine Vorkehrungen der Erde. Wenn er gerne das Micha, sein Büro, hat gesagt, dass ich keine Kraft mehr auf ihn begonnen. Die Jahre später für die Lehrer zu lernen, es kommt zu der Erde, es werden begonnen viel Beklau, man kann reden, in allen Materie. Und er hat Gott, wenn sehr stark. 30 Jahre, es war sehr Sude, vielleicht inbringen, von seiner Sheet. Und es ist so viel Klippen geworden von seinen Schiuren, was er vielleicht auszählen bei den Schiuren, bei dem Schier, am Kau, am Schikoffens, verschiedene tolle Dateien, noch und noch. Mit dem Mund, was nennen wir jetzt das Schier, schon lang, gegeben von Menschen. Es sind zwei Sachen, was machen wir Restoration. Bei dem Mund wird gearbeitet, wird sehr stark in der Munde getroffen. Und was gehört einmal bei den Dominions? Fahrer geworden krank. Und dann haben wir gesagt, Menschen meinen, aber Tachen meint, als beschreibt im Check, und gibt es für Deutschland mit den alle Gasten. Nein, Tachen meint, wir Gasten im Check, der Deutschland, du schreibst im Check, wir Gasten ist alles in der Hälfte der Deutschland, das ist was wir wollen. Das ist sehr wichtig ist in seinen Tachen, wie er stark an die letzten schweren Zeiten leidet. Noch eine Sache, die macht eine starke Relation etliche Wochen zurück in der Hospital. Ich bin aber ein Boss, ein Dentist, ich bin aber ein Boss. Ich war still ein Mensch, was ist zu vereinen, auch schon, weißt du, ist. Und du willst wissen, dass ich mehr bekannt mit der Fischerei. Er weiß, dass mein Schwager gesehen im Chirurgen, dass ich nicht Fischerei für Balbaten. Sagte mein Schwager, nicht Fischerei, it's impossible not to change your life. Nefesh HaChaim muss beiten am Mensch, nicht scheihandrisch. Er weiß das, Gottes von der jüdischen Neshama, die Köches, die Potential von der Jid, die Größkeit von Teira, es wird keine Zukunft von Teira, sind nicht scheich, also nicht überbeiten am Mensch. Es ist gesagt, dass Klarheit gegeben, gemacht eine Restoration, beide Basements, also auch das State von der Spur, was der Terror sein Ursprung von dem, aber die Starkheit von der Kunde. Jetzt ist gesagt, gemacht eine Restoration hier. Durch seine Schiuren, dann die Balbatim geworden, Talmiden, vielleicht so Messiache sein, wie Rabbi Elimelech. Vielleicht sehen wir in der Stube, vielleicht kommen auf Schabbat, die Talmiden in die Yeshiva, vielleicht die Berat dazukommen, Herren von dem wissen die, seine Bräigkeiten, Gott haben wir noch, und das, was vermocht in der Gottes Beterre. Wir werden sehr viel zugreifen, sehr viel Schirm gemacht, jede Nacht, morgen, bei Tag, über Nacht. Alle verlassen Materie. Die Heilige Abwege für uns alle, all der Zar, die Gesehre. Deutschland soll geben, keine Verfügung von meiner Schwester sind sein. Vielleicht sind sie gearbeitet schwer alle Jahre, vielleicht sind die Simcha, was wir gehabt von der Nachas, von den Peres, dass die gegeben Kaya arbeiten schwer, und es wird schwer bei ihr, wissen die, sehen die größte Nachas von den Peres in seiner Sprache. der Goyenshlom gibt Perach und alle Teile Kinder eine Koch. Ich will dann Perach und Chassid sein, Nachem sein. Ich will am Nobel sein, letzter noch Hashem und auch Kopfhörer.
Yes.
Every time I think about all the things you meant to me, I just keep coming up with new things I miss. Even when you're like fast in months, even no idea of the relationship. That you made with every single person that saw you and didn't know what to see. You never once crashed, never once said I'm in pain. And even as you sat in the doctor's office, hooked up to who knows what, you sat with Ellie, listening to him and guiding him. You sat with me on the phone, you sat over your share, you listened to my shaylas as you sat in the doctor's office. I have no idea how I'm supposed to get up here and say things about you. It's endless. Every time I think of something, it's like, if I just say that, the people will think that that's all it is. Yesterday to Levaya, I said over the first Barter we spoke together. Parshas Kvarim 11 years ago. And I said over the last Barter that we spoke together, it was 3 weeks ago. And as we were driving to Beis HaKvaros today, the second Barter that we discussed, at least that I can remember. There's something we spoke already between them, but I don't remember what it was. But the second one that I can vividly remember was Leil Shmini Atzeres when I was still a chassid. And we were together in Detroit on the whole sukkah. And of course, you made me say something, not in your pressuring way, but I knew how much it meant to you. I said with the Morning Sukkah, the Morning said that the essence of Shmini Atzeres, that Kodesh Baruch Hu just spent the whole Yom with Klal Yisrael, and he bevakish from Klal Yisrael essence with the Ketana to make me one little Suda. Stay with me one more day. Conscience asked, the love that Kodesh Baruch Hu has for Klal Yisrael, was created during Sukkot, what's one more day going to help? If anything, it might have a counterproductive effect. Klal Yisrael stays around for another day, and their love becomes even greater than only on Moti Shmi Atzeres. They'll be that much harder to say goodbye. So what's the point of making a Suda Ketana? I don't know if anybody asked this kasha or I'm about to ask, but to me it was always hard. And Eretz Yisrael, even you only have one day of Shmini Atzeres and Bastera together. Why would Chazal Keveya the Siyam HaTorah on Simchas on Shmini Atzeres? What's the shaykhs between these two inyanim? I don't know if it's a kasha or a holidomah. The Gemara in Brachos that says, Amar Mori Bar Grei Ravuna Grei Rabbi Elimelech La'olam Ayipoter Odom Mitoich Dvar Halacha Elo Mitoich Dvar Halacha and a person, when you say goodbye to a friend, you should make sure that his last words that he says with him is Dvar Halacha. Says the Gemara, what's the reason why the last word should be Dvar Halacha? Because through the Dvar Halacha, that will be some type of zikaron between these two people. That bothered me. There's so many ways that you can remember someone. There's so many ways that you can give a memento. You can give a gift, give a picture. What's special about a Dvar Halacha? What do Chazal mean that a Dvar Halacha is going to be the ticket to Zikaron? And I think it's partial that the answer to all of this is that Ruchnius is so different than Gashmius. Gashmius, two shoots in a business that may not know each other, but both have the same interest, and they go and they venture together. The second that the investment dries up, their friendship also may dry up. Because their Abbas, their love is dependent upon something of Mamoshes, something of Gashmius, and second that Gashmius is over, their love is over. For Ruchnius, it's an Abbas and a Tluya B'Dover that Ruchnius gets into your Neshama, and it's something that can never be divided, it's something that never can be split up. That when you have it by halacha and you fortify your relationship in Ruchnius, that when you say goodbye, you're not going to say goodbye. You're still one and you're still the same. Says the Rebbeinu Shalom Eseli Suda Ketana, just make for me one more day of Ruchnius. Let's have a little bit more Ruchnius together. That our foundation should be fortified, and that much more Ruchnius that when you leave tomorrow, your leaving will not be a goodbye. Say Chazal before Shmini Atzeres, take the Torah, be Messiah the Torah, dance with the Torah, sing with the Torah, because your whole life is Torah. And wherever you go, wherever you may be the next day, you'll have Torah together with you. Taki's relationship both with his family and with his Talmidim, they weren't relationships where he just said a good word, or he gave you an eitzah, or he listened to your problem. But he cultivated relationships Like that toy in the shovel that when you were not next to him, you still thought what he had to say. He didn't teach Torah, he didn't teach people. He changed people. Just now after Mincha, one of the Talmidim that recently moved to Yisrael, we were talking about how they learned their Hashem together every Monday night. And he said, he didn't teach me Derech Hashem, he taught me life. You'll hear he gave a shir on this and he gave a shir on that, and it's true, Tati's knowledge was so breathtaking, was so vast and deep. But whenever he gave a shir, it could be on something in Kutcher, but somehow he would walk away with not only understanding the Rambam, but you would have a new understanding of something else in your life. On Sunday, a very prominent lawyer came to visit him in the hospital. And Taki probably didn't hear him saying, I love you, Rebbe, I love you, Rebbe, I love you, Rebbe. This person never went to yeshiva. He doesn't know what a Rebbe is, but from you, he understood what a Rebbe is. It was automatic, and he said, you don't understand, your father, he made me a better Jew. He made me a better father. He made me a better husband. He made me a better lawyer. He just made me better. Today and now I understand something you told me probably close to 10 years ago. It was one of our random schmoozes that we used to have in the kitchen on Thursday nights, wherever it was. And I was probably married a year or two. We were talking about how you and Mommy spend so much time together. And he said, Shui, love never has to grow old. Love can always stay young, and now I understand, because your love for people weren't just love for something of Gashmi, but your love was of Ruchni, your love was the Neshamis. How you connected with people, you understood people, you guided people. You change people. Three weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, we came to the hospital, Leslie and I, to give Mommy an hour break. We were schmoozing with you. Probably one of the hardest conversations I should go through. He said, sure. My head is so fun. Straight. I can't help it. That's what I'm talking about. You couldn't help it. Well, you had a brilliant mind, and all the things, and who knows what you used your mind for. But when you complained about that you couldn't connect with everybody in Shalom. In that conversation, it was mentioned how much Mommy does for you. And not just in the last 4 months, but in the last 30 years. he looked at me, he said so emotionally, he said, Shui, it's who she is. It's not what she does, it's who she is. It's her very essence. And Mommy, you should just know, and I know you're listening, you were such a source of strength to him. And now we need you more than ever. To be a strength for all of us. How your love for your family knew no bounds. And you had great teachers for that. You had a mother who loved you. And you had a brother who loved you. And now you lie next to your brother. Where you can say, Yeshev Zachem Gam Yochdav. And you'll be reunited with your mother. And you'll be reunited with your brother. And your father that you cannot ever knew. But Tati, you should just know that your love for us, we reciprocate in every which way possible. And our love transcends the oceans and the mountains and the lands that will separate you from us in America. It will transcend life itself. Because from us all we have is the Dvar Halacha. Our whole relationship was steeped in ruchni, was steeped in our neshamas. And now that you're going to the Rebbeinu Shalom, realize that it's always going to be together. Shemikayikach Zachreu. You should be a Melech Yosher for Mommy. And for all the children and the grandchildren.
It's so hard to see you over here. Everyone knows about my father's. Everyone knows about your about Safira. Everybody else Safira. That is so much about you. Your chesed. The way you do chesed for people without ever expecting anything in return. Just recently, not too long ago, I met a friend of mine who was looking for an internship in the field. I said, "Oh, my father, you interview people in that field." I mentioned to my father, done. 2 weeks later, the guy has a job. My father never met him, didn't know who he was. This didn't just happen once, this happened all the time. Even when he was in the hospital last month, he's busy giving ACEs to people. He's in so much pain. He was on 32 medications. And yet he spent 3 hours to 4 hours giving ACEs and discussing issues with people. Not people in our family. Just people that came to him for ACEs. He's always there for them. Growing up, whenever Rishon came to the door, no matter what was going on, my father was very adamant.
both my parents. Bring the shulchan in, sit them down, you give them something to drink. If you gave it to them in a cup, my father made us go back to bring it in a glass. These are people that maybe never drank from a glass. They came to our house, they always got one. I've always thought that was normal. So you go to other people and you see the shul comes, you give them money by the door. Sometimes they pretend that you're not by the door. They catch you, you give them money, and that's it. I remember once, this Cohen Levaya, we were supposed to go on a trip. We were all in the car, and we were waiting and waiting. Must have been a half hour. My father was spending time with someone. We came in, when we came to the car, he complained that he got so upset. I remember this. I remember this very clearly. I remember who was in the car. He told us, he said that Sholach has a son that's in the hospital, and this is what, and you're complaining that you're not going to sport time? He spent a half hour going through different answers, and then afterwards he went around to figure out different ways to get him money. I remember one Purim, my father came home to break his kindness, and there was 7 Shalachim sitting around the table. My father had his sandwich. Some of the people that were there literally came, it was the 3rd time that week. It was the 3rd time they came that week, because they knew that every single time my father wouldn't turn them away. It wasn't the usher and ribbon they came for, I promise you. And they knew they could always come back to him. Then one of them mentioned that they didn't eat that day. My father slowly started giving away bits and bits of his sandwich until he gave away most of his food. Anyone that knows my father knows that he didn't eat often. He could sometimes come home at night, on a regular day, and wouldn't eat supper. My mother had to keep track. How did you eat? Did you eat? He wasn't busy with it. But when he did, he had no problem giving it away. My father also had an uncanny ability to always relate to every single one of his talmidim. It's true with his talmidim and with his children. He always used to say that to be a Maggid Shir, it's not about what you get from your talmidim, but it's what you give to them. I heard him play out that he told this Rabbi Elimelech when he asked him if he wanted to be a Maggid Shir. All my father ever wanted to do was have a cheshik to have a shaykhus to Torah. But he understood right away. He said, "Oh, Baral." He said basically that I can't choose my own talmidim. Talmidim aren't there for me. I'm there for them. And Taka, that's what he did. He found himself a job where he's able to connect to every single talmid on their level. He would live with people the most passionate on them, and he didn't bother him. He was able to enjoy learning Mishnayos with someone that just opened up Mishnayos for his first time. Taki, when you walked out of your Bechina on Shulchan Aruch, they asked you if your Sheshiva's passed. You're brilliant. And you had no problem learning with someone those simplest things. You even enjoyed it. Because you understood that you're giving over Torah. And you enjoyed every single asset of Torah. You related to every single one of your children also. It's keep your good. There was nothing that your children ever needed that you and Mommy didn't do for us. I remember when I was in Yeshiva in Lakewood, after a couple of years, you thought that maybe it would help me if I had an old harusok, and you went ahead and you got me one. It was like, no problem. Every single step of the way, you were always there. You and Mommy together. The thing about holidays, he valued time tremendously. And the reason why he was able to value time is because he saw how precious it is. You went through a life, you didn't get to spend much time with the people that loved you. You never knew your father, your mother was taken from you. And later on, Paul. And even when you were alive, they were always separated. Paul was always in Detroit. You were in yeshiva when your mother was alive. You always cherished the few times that we had. You cherished it so much. And because of that, I remember how much you value time. I remember once when we were in yeshiva, it was a Friday, as in 8th grade, at the end of the year, when you don't really learn much, and there was a substitute. A bunch of guys made us husband, there's nothing to go to school for. I remember you were so upset, you just couldn't understand. So you're not going to school, so what are you doing? So for what? Why won't you go to school? Like, what are you going to accomplish by not? Everything, whenever you went away, if someone went on vacation, they had to get shot. What are you doing? You're just wasting time? That concept was so hard for you to understand. Also, Tom is tremendous honor. I don't know if people realize how much cover that he could have taken that he never chased, and how many times that he would let things go. I remember once in shul, when someone was mad at him about something that, whatever, was ridiculous, and he started screaming at my father, Rabbi. So I'm going to bother my father. He wasn't happy with how one of his Hamidim turned out. And it basically was going to bother everything that my father stood for. My father didn't say anything, he just smiled, waited for him to calm down. Taka, the other person, changed his way, and he got the best that he could have done. My father was always very smart in that sense. But he's also a tremendous honor. The only two things that my father wasn't, that he had a gaiva about. He had a tremendous gaiva about his Torah. He's so proud of it. Gaiva Kushal. Every part that he ever said, he always cherished it. He learned that from his house of Rosh Hashiva. He would take a pride in it. You can see it on his face. Every bar mitzvah shetel that he gave for his sons, he was so into it. My bar mitzvah shetel, Avi's, Ellie's, and Yamin's. So dear by him. The other thing that he was very proud of were his children. I still remember, we have pictures of it, the elation that he had on his face when Shui and Esther were going to Australia. They were married for a short amount of time. A year or two, 3, and they started to go to Australia. They had families, everything, and he's literally sending them to the other end of the world. Well, most people wouldn't let their children. Everyone was telling my parents that they're nuts. And Tati and Mommy, they were happy to see them off. And Tati, you in the airport, the way you were so proud. You were so proud that she was going to be my in Australia. Everyone else is crying. We're just so happy. Every one of your children, you sent away to yeshiva. And you, of course, got this from your mother. You were so close with her, and yet she sent you away to yeshiva before your bar mitzvah. And when you went to yeshiva, you never saw her for 6 months. And you called on the phone maybe once every 2 weeks, I think it was, for 5 minutes. Yet, she was happy to send you off. You were happy to go. And you gave this over to your children, you and Mommy. The young man we know is so dear to you. And yet, you were so happy to send him off to yeshiva next year. Even every single time when we came on vacation, which you love taking vacations with us. And anytime you want to spend time with the family, we always had to work it out exactly with every single yeshiva in school. Even when it was the end of the year, elementary school, easy ways to get out of it. You were adamant about it. And you wouldn't say, you know what, your selfishness, you're spending time with your kids to get in the way. Remember, I used to come home when I was in Lakewood. I used to love having us around. You'd always ask, oh, you're all from Yeshiva now? Marissa, you never played games like that. You always had a purpose. You knew there's a purpose. You always put that purpose ahead. I remember every single time when I remember Shnayas and I made the siyum. I made a siyum at a Hanukkah, when you made a Hanukkah party for your idol. You were so proud. You took such pride in it. That's what you take pride in. Everyone knows that my father is, the first thing they'd say about him is how unique he is. How original he is. I think the shot of that, the reason why he's like that is so simple that most of us, especially these days, we're all manufactured. Part of the system. He was custom made, he was handmade. Self-made man. He's made from brilliance. The perseverance that few I know have. Determined. So determined. You see, in the past few months, we gave sure in the hospital, on the way to the hospital, coming back from the hospital. Unnatural. You never complain. You have sensitivity to people. Above all time, you would love. You would have Ava for Torah. You would have Ava for your family. The Ava Sachayim. And you got that Ava from your mother and from Paul. That's what made up. That's what you're made up of. It's so hard to sing about you. And I have a family with all the kids. I want to ask them Mechila for anything. Give me the proper covenant. And darling, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for giving us everything, you and Mommy. And you're leaving us a tremendous legacy. It's a legacy that Ellie's going to take this house on. It's a legacy that we're going to raise our children with, that we're going to grow up with. A legacy from you and Mommy. In the Shabbat, the meditation for the ganze Sprache und ganz Tages so.
פרק ט"ז בתהילים. ויכתוב לדוד שומרי גט כוסיסו, אומר אותך תגדויה שינויות ותגדוס יבל לכו, יגדו ישים אשר באורץ ואם עבד ילי כוכב ציבור, ירבו עצבוי סומך אל מור ולסיס יסתם אל מידו ולסוי צבוי סומך ספוסוי, Adonai menas pepti vechoisiato domingo iroli. Avoli nofrui vanintim apnachlas shokoloi. Avorefes adonai asher yotzo miachilois iskuni filioisoi. Divisi adonai nekisomit kimini valemoi. Locheina somach libi vayogel koidam besorim veloveta. Ilo isa zayunafshi shoy lo isinem chasim choli roi shokas. Loidieni oirach chaim suivas mofeses ponecho. Neimois beirinen ponetza.
Skadel v'skadesh ve'ravo. The body brought to the Sevim v'chmapesel. Chayev horge v'chol v'chol beis Yisrael. The Lord is my career and gourmet. Amirom be'omav de'ruamei. Ei shlomo Yaakov Mishmaya v'chayim aleinu. Yaakov Yisrael de'ruamei. V'seh shalom v'kormo v'yas shalom aleinu. Yaakov Yisrael de'ruamei.
לפי מנהג ירושלים, כל יוצאים חלציו לא ילכו אחר המיטה. הפח נשבור ואנחנו נמלטנו. והנה אמר אדוני אלוהינו עלינו מעשה ידינו כוננו עלינו מעשה ידינו כוננהו. יושב בסייסר עליון בצל שדי סלינון. אוי מר לאדוני מחסי ומצודו אלוהי יפתח בוי. כי הוא יצילך מפח יקוט מדבר הבוי. וברוסו יוסף לא וסחס כנופו ותחסד צינו וסויחרו אמיתוי. לא יסירו מפחד, לא מחייצה ופיומום. מדבר בוי כפל יעלוי מכתב ישוד צורויים. יפועל מצדך אלף ורבבו מימינך. אליך לא יגוש רק בעינך סבית ושילומס רשועים תראה. כי אתה אדוני מחסי עליון שמתו מעינך. לא יסעוני לך רוב ונגע לא יקרא באוהלך כי מלוך ויצא ולוך לשמורך בכל דרכך. כפיים יסעונך בן דברי בו אבן רגלך על שחל ופסן תדרוך תרמוי כפר וסנים. ובחושק ואפלתהו עסקדהו כי יודע שמי קרואיני ועיניהו עמנוכי בצורה חלצהו ואכבדהו. אוי רך יומי מסביעהו והריהו בשעושי עקביו בן מעל אלוהים הסתכל בשלושה דברים ועינתו בו לידי אווירו. דמאין בוסו לענתו ילך ולפני מיעתו עושה ליתן דין וחשבון. מאין בוסו ולענתו ילך למקום אפור עמו וסוילאו. ולפני מיעתו עושה ליתן דין וחשבון לפני מלך מלכי המלוכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. עצור תומים פה לא ככל דרכו משפט. אלה אמונו ואינו ול צדיק ויושר וגדוי לא יצור ורבו על עליו אשר אינך בכוחו על כל דרכי בני אדום. לא סייס להעיף כדרכו וכפרי מעלו לוב להגיד כי יושר אדוני צורי ולאו לא סבוי. אדוני נוסן ואדוני לא כוח ישם אדוני מבוירו. והוא רחום יכפרו בוין ולא ישחיס. וירבו לו שבעה פוי ולא יאיר כל חמוסוי.
בזמן קריב אמן. קודשו בליפנו אלו מכל וחסה ושבעשה וחסה ונחמסה דאמירון ביולמה וימלו אמן מי שלמה רבו מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל יסביבנו אמן
Amen. Yoshev b'seiser Elione b'tzel Shaddai Sloinon. Oymar la Adonai machsi umetzudo Elohai eftachvoi. Ki hu yatzilcho mipach yakush midevar avois. Bebroso yosech loch v'esachas kenofov techesed tzino v'soichiro amitoi. Lo isiro mipachad lo ilo mechetze ufyo imom. Midever bo ifel yahaloich miketev yashud etzoroim. יפועל מצדך אלף ורבבו מימינך אליך לא יגוש רק בעינך סביב בשילו מעשרה שאם תראה כי התורה אדוני מחזיר עליונך שמתו מעינך לא יצאו נגדך ואורו ונגע לא יתנבר עליך תמה לא כל יצא ולא על כפיים יצאו הקביו בן מעללה לא ימר, יסתכל בשלישו דבורים ועינתו בו לידי אבירו גם מהעין בו סעולה נטוילת ונפליט גם עושי גיסתי בשבוי מהעין בו סעולה נטוילת ומקור לימו בסוילאו ולפני מיעתו סיבלית בן דין וחשבוי לפני מלך מלכי המלוכים הקדוש ברוך הוא עצור תאמים בו, לא יכיכול דרוכוב משפוטי למונו ואינו בל צדיק ביושרו דוי לא יצוא ורבו על ידיעה אשר אינך בכוחו יצוא כל דרכי בני אדום נוסס לאיש בדרוכו ותקרי מעלו לו ולהגיד כי יושרו אדוני צורי ולאב לא סבוי אדוני נוסן ואדוני לא כוחי שם אדוני מבוירו והוא רחום יכפר רבוין ולא ישחיס וירבו לא הושיב אחוי ולא יויר כל חמוסוי.
אמן. שמי רבם בורך לעולם ומי ומיה Yeah, I know. We're live now.
לא טוב כאן, לא טוב. למה, לא שמה, לא שמה.
יחיר בו להושיט אחוי ולא יועיר בו לחמותוי והוא רחום יחבר אומרים ולא ישחית בו להושיט אחוי אפשר להעביר לכולם אפשר להעביר Alilo lecho zichroineinu limchois v'yiroinu v'rachamim oleinu v'kuchois Kilecho odoinu v'rachamim v'haslichois Odom im beneshono yihye o elef shonim yihye Ma yisron lo kelo yehoyo yihye v'odayonu im esmimis u'nechayeh Baruch hu ki emes dino meshodet hakol be'ino משלם לאודום חשבונו ודינו והכל לשמו אוידויו ייתנו יודענו אדוני כי צדק משפטך תצדק בדוברך וצדקה בשופטך ואין לערער אחר מידס שופטך צדיק עשו אדוני ויושר משפטך דיון אמס שויפן צדק באמס דיון אמס שכל משפטו צדק באמס נפש כל חי ביודך צדק כולו ימינך ביודך ואם על בית עשרים ידיך וצרים העולם הלוך ערב יודך נויל הריצו ורב הועליליו אשר אינך פקויס על כל דרכך להודו לא סייף לאיש כבלוכו וכפרי מעלולו להגיד ביושר אדוני צורי ולא אבלו סומוי Adonai nosan v'Adonai lokov v'yisheim Adonai mevoiro v'hu rachum yechaper ovoin v'lo yashkim v'yirbo lo shalachuim v'lo yoir kol chamosoi
Amen.
Lig harte die Shalom, de Kus, in de Shachlel, Hechol, de Gabel, de Mekah, de Kufano, de Romi, Aras, Ulas, Atavol, Kufono, de Shmayo, de Asra, Yamlik, de Shogru, Kube, Malki Sevi, Korei, de Chayechonu, Yomechonu, Chayde Chabes Israel, Bagolov, Zman Karib, in Amen. Yishador, Yishalev, Yishalol, Shmei Dukudisho, Birchu, Leila, Minkol, Birchasov, Shirasov, Shbechasov, Nechamasov, Damiyom, Be'amah, Be'amru, Amen. Hey, Shlomo Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chayim, Tovim, Aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael, Be'amru, Amen. Shalom, Yirmam, V'yasa, Shalom, Aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael, Be'amru, Amen.
בשם החברה קדישה, בשם המשפחה, הקרובים, הידידים והמלווים, אנו מבקשים ממך סליחה ומחילה. בשם החס וחלילה פגענו בכבודך, בטהרה, בנשיאה במיתה ובחכם גבר, אנו נסלח לנו כל השגגה. החברה קדישה נהגה איתך כמנהגי ירושלים, עיר הקודש. תהיינה מליץ יושר עבור משפחתך, קרוביך וידידיך, ועבור כל כלל ישראל וכל קבוצות ישראל. וייתן השם ויבוא לו עמו ושלנצח, ומוכו השם אלוקים עמו מעל כל טרונים, ובוא לציון גואל במהירו ויומינו. לך בשולוים ושנוח בשולוים ושמו את לגו בכל כל לבני צבאי. כשנצא החוצה מחוץ לחלקה, נעשה שתי שורות גברים לניחום אבלים קצתנו.
עמוק מנחם ישכם שוכב אלי ציון ירושלים, תהיו רק משמחות. Hello.